Hi, everyone. I just wanted to share with you all an experience about my trip to Israel that I think was very interesting. So, as many of you know, I had the great fortune of attending Penina Cantor's wedding last week. I also attended my nephew's wedding. Very special occasions. At Penina's wedding, we're able to look out over Yerushalayim, mostly outdoors. My nephew's wedding was a real portal into a community that we don't have too much interaction with in terms of the Israeli Haredi community. But no matter where you go, there's a vibrancy in Israel. It's very special. As I've been telling people, one of the most remarkable experiences was this past Sunday. On Sunday afternoon, I was in Yerushalayim, Ir HaKodesh, and I needed to get back to Beit Shemesh in order to light with my family. And I was stuck in horrendous Chanukah traffic. Like many, the bane of my existence is traffic. And I never previously enjoyed being in traffic. But to think to myself, I am in a Jewish country, in a country where all of these cars that are around me, or 99% of them, are on the road because they are trying before sundown to get to be with their families. They're leaving work early. It's 3 o'clock, 3:30 in the afternoon, and they want to get home to be with their loved ones. They want to celebrate the holiday. They're running to do a mitzvah. They're running to go ahead and light and to say those brachos. I mean, to think of being inside of a traffic jam and the whole context of the traffic jam. The whole concept of they're all going to perform a mitzvah. They're all trying to get to perform a mitzvah as fast as they can. The first opportunity to light. It's tremendous. The traffic jam itself, the traffic jam is part of Pirsumei Nisa, publicizing the miracle. They want to be able to light that candle so that their family, their apartment, can participate with the rest of the Jewish people, with the rest of the country, in acknowledging the greatness, the goodness, the mercy of the Almighty. It was unbelievable. And to see the country turn to this whole state of being festive, this kind of festival, it's incredible. And Israel's incredible. She'asa nisim lavoseinu, to really appreciate that it's a relatively modern holiday, right? It's not in the Torah, right? And it took place in Israel. And it took place for the sake of being zealous in a good way for the Mikdash, to make sure that to make sure that the spiritual headquarters of the Jewish people was still ongoing, would still be able to thrive. Sure, lots of different parts were desecrated and destroyed, and never to be returned to the way that it was. But they continued on anyway. It wasn't going to be perfect. And to be there when the whole country is commemorating what happened in its country, and it's thousands of years removed from what took place. Look, this is not as much Devar Torah as it is just expressing some sentiments I had the opportunity to go to Netanya. I had the opportunity to go to Chadera, spend time in Modi'in, in Moshav Matisyahu, in Kiryas Sefer, mostly in Yerushalayim and Beit Shemesh. But the connection that we have to Yerushalayim, you feel connected. We're here in Richmond, Virginia, but what is Chanukah all about? It's appreciating the miracle that took place in Yerushalayim. It's sure we survived, and military victory is very important, and it comes from a Kadosh Baruch Hu. But the oil, it's just oil. It's just oil. But it's about being able to serve Hashem the way Hashem told us to serve the Almighty. Menorah was a key part of the Beis Hamikdash. But it wasn't just the menorah. They rebuilt the Mizbeach as best as they could. And at the time they weren't going to stand for being second-rate citizens in their own ancestral homeland. Chashmonaim, the Maccabim, the Kohanim, this family said, no, we can do this. Hashem's going to help us. It's very important. There's a lot just to express these sentiments. There's a lot of dismay, some despondency, a lot of people who have given up, a lot of people in situations seems very bleak. But these, for Matisyahu, for Yehuda, it seemed very dire. It was very dire. But it's Chanukah. It's time for optimism. It's a time for being positive. There's a strength. There's a strength that comes from Israel. There's a strength that comes from Yerushalayim. It's obviously very emotional to talk about, so I apologize for maybe not being as coherent as I should. But I went back to my yeshiva. It's one thing to have the honor and the privilege of studying in yeshiva, and too many people, myself included, especially when you're going through it, you don't realize how privileged. It's a luxury to be able to sit and learn and study all day, every day, for days on end, for years and years, and to have that happen for me in Israel, for my gap year, my 2 gap years. I went back to my yeshiva. I visited Mivaseret, where the Miller family has their son learning currently. But if that yeshiva was not in Israel, I don't think it would have been the same experience. That yeshiva had a very big impact on me. It changed my whole life around. The teachers, the scholars that I met there, the yeshiva experience, everybody should try it. Go for a week, go for a month. Institutions for men, there are institutions for women. But to have 2 years is a life-changing experience. And but it's the fact that it was in Israel, in my mind, that it had such a big impact on me. But the strength, the positive outlook, the optimism, it's part of Chanukah. It's also part of Israel. It's 8 days of focusing on the fact that we're not just going to survive. The military victory, yes, we survived. But it's the thriving, it's the Pach Hashemet, it's the little bit of vitality that we have, lasting for much longer, being able to really thrive. So to be in Israel, especially now with the border that's closed, to be there with so many Richmonders and former Richmonders, and to meet so many very chashuv Rebbeim, very significant rabbis. It was very special. And to have that confluence with Chanukah coming from Virginia is very special. I trying to just give a flavor of what I experienced. Of course, just being there, seeing this modern day miracle of a country that has just blossomed in ways that were once unimaginable. There's so much to say about it. I was very moved by being there, and I was very moved by the way to see my family members acclimate or assimilate in a good way, be absorbed into the culture. Just to see a certain kind of vibrant Torah living that you don't see as much in Virginia. It was very uplifting, and with the Almighty's help, everyone try to experience that or tap into that, if not directly in person, maybe at least virtually, but in person is the way to go. So I want to wish everybody a happy Chanukah, and the Almighty should give us strength this Chanukah, the Shabbos Chanukah, and spend some time reflecting on how fortunate we are, to be a part of this power of Am Yisrael, of the Jewish people, and the holiness, the Kedusha, that is also part of the very definition of the land of Israel and Yerushalayim Yer HaKodesh. That's the message, some reflections, some thoughts, some memories, some feelings that I was asked to share in a special video for this week, having just returned from Eretz Yisrael, from Israel. Again, wishing you all a wonderful Chanukah.